When you get an award named after you, it's a sign that you're doing something right. Inspire India's Ultra Award, the Kabir Rachure Ultra Award, was first won by and then named after Indian ultra-cyclist and 2019 RAAM finisher Kabir Rachure. Kabir is one of India's finest ultra racers, having won and podiumed in the Ultra Spice Race, the Great Himalayan Ultra Race, and the Deccan Cliffhanger. Kabir has also completed the Race Across America in 2019, joining the growing group of elite Indian ultra racers who have done the same in the last few years. Kabir has also ridden numerous long-distance brevets and crewed for amazing athletes like the Mahajan Brothers in their Golden Quadrilateral expedition. I'm Justin Too, your host today of the Ultra Cycling Show. Let's roll. Hey Ultra family, Justin Too here, your host of the Ultra Cycling Show. Thanks for tuning in for today's very special episode with Indian ultra cyclist and Spiegel Bikes team ambassador Kabir Rachure. He's a very accomplished ultra cyclist. Looking forward to speaking with him, learning all about his achievements over the last few years as an ultra cyclist, including the Race Across America and many others. So without further ado, Kabir, thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me here. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, your name has come up many times on this show with other guests. And so it's great to finally be able to have the chance to speak with the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Oh.
And Kabir, where are you calling in from today?
I'm from Navi Mumbai. So it's in Maharashtra. So it's a small place, like it's a part of the Navi Mumbai. We call it Kharghar. So I'm calling in from Kharghar, Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra.
Ah, okay. Wonderful. Yeah. And so some of your achievements through the years, before we get into our sprint round of questions. So you have participated in a variety of brevets in the BRM there in India. You've also participated and won on several occasions some of Inspire India's races. Of course, we've interviewed the founder, Divya Tate, for those who are interested in learning more. The Deccan Cliffhanger is something that you've done, which is a RAAM qualifier. 2016 was your first. You've also completed the Ultra Spice Race, which is also a RAAM qualifier, 715 kilometers, and the Great Himalayan Ultra Race, which is a very difficult one at a very high elevation.
Yes.
Of course, you've also completed a 1200K BRM, and that was a RAAM qualifier for you. Then, because of your achievements with the Inspire India set of races, you were the first to win their Inspire India Ultra Award. And because of that, they actually named the award after you, the Kabir Rachure Ultra Award.
Yes.
So well done with that. And
Thank
I
you.
think most notably, and just recently, 2019, just last year, you were a RAAM finisher, 11 days, 22 hours, and 43 minutes. And you were hoping to come back this year, right? But because of the pandemic, you had to postpone that plan?
Yes. So because of pandemic, the race was cancelled and everything was shut. So yeah, by default, we had to quit the plan.
Right. Very unfortunate and a common occurrence this year. We look forward to having you back out here in the US for another crossing. Now, you did send over a variety of very nice photographs. Thank you. Of course, we could see here you holding up your award from the Race Across America. Happy finisher. And I can't help but notice your tan looks a little darker here.
Yeah, it was tanned badly and I was actually not happy with the timing. So first time. So we learned a lot about the race and maybe in next attempt we can correct all those mistakes.
Yeah, most definitely. That's what happens. But to have made it on your first time is really excellent. And of course, we have many other great photos here that we'll cover throughout this segment. as we document your races there in India and also abroad. So it's really a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now we'll get into all of that after a nice sprint round of questions, a series of questions to get to know you in a nutshell in a fun way, of course.
Okay.
First question we have to know is, how long have you even been riding your bike?
So I'm riding my bike from my school days. Like I was like 3 years old or something. But for racing, I started my cycling from 2016 November when I did my first Deccan Cliffhanger. So you can say that from 2015 November, I started cycling as my passion. Before that, I used to commute to school or college. Nothing serious. I was not fond of bicycles very much. So I used to think that when I will get my motorbike or something. But yeah, nowadays, like if I get a 10 lakh rupees, then I will spend it on bicycle. I won't go for a car or anything else.
Yeah, that's funny. No, but that's really good. It's a great passion to have, of course, and you've come a long way, so it's money well spent. Now, I'm curious, when it comes to your background, education, or career, what does that look like for you?
So I did my LLB, that is, I'm advocate in Bombay High Court and City Civil Court. So I do my right now. I 8 years. I have been practicing as advocate. So I do manage both of the things, and my senior is my sister. So that is a bit blessing for me. So I don't get too much stress at the work side also, and I can manage my work and passion too.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's always important and difficult. One of the challenges of being an ultra cyclist, not just the cycling, not just the training, but the conditions, but also everyday life also. Many of us aren't professionals bicycling full time and getting paid to do so. And that's one of the, I guess, the fun of ultra cycling. And of course,
Yes.
you've managed to figure that out, and you have a number of incredible achievements to your name. So well done.
Yeah,
Now,
that
how
is
many?
because my sister supports me too much because she is the boss in my office. So I work under her. So she is my crew chief. So she understands what I need. Like she give me leave for the trainings and everything. So I'm a bit blessed for the training and the rest of the things.
All right. So I guess the first lesson to learn here from Kabir is we all need to work for our siblings, assuming that they're nice people.
Yeah,
All right. Well done.
exactly.
Glad you have that good arrangement, which allows you to do all your training and also racing. Now, to support all of your riding, how many bicycles do you own?
So right now I own 5 bicycles, and the three of them are endurance bikes, and two of them are aero bikes. So I have 5 bikes.
Oh, very nice. Busy
Yeah.
man. Of course, you will be riding on these new Spiegel bikes as an ambassador
Yes.
for them. And so I'm sure
Yeah.
that is very exciting for you. They are
Yeah. Of
very
course.
nice bicycles.
Okay. So
Now,
yeah.
which bicycle do you ride the most?
So I do ride my Lapierre Pulsium in my long races because that is the endurance geometry, and that is too comfortable for the Indian roads because the geometry has properly made for the bumpy roads, like the vibration roads. So I use Pulsium most of the in long races, and I have Air Code also, which I use in short races like 24-hour race or something. Or I take my that aero bike on the flat terrain or rolling terrain, so I can go in good speed or something. And I use use my Air Code on the downhills. So yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
mostly I use the Pulsium and the Air Code.
Okay. Yeah, good arrangement. Nice to have the options. Now, what bicycle computer do you use? Garmin, a Wahoo?
I use Garmin 520H.
Ah, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to some of your gear for the bike, first question, what tire size do you prefer using, and do you run them at a certain pressure?
I use both the sizes like 23 and 25. So for the shock absorbent, when the road are bit rough or something, I use 25, and I use 25 in my tubeless wheels. So 25 and 23, and then what was your next question? Second question? I didn't get it.
What tire pressure do you prefer
Yeah.
running your
So
tires at?
when I used to weight like 77 kg, I used to put to 110 psi.
Hmm.
And right now I weigh 71 kg, so I put 100 psi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I do some calculations here, so if you're about in pound terms for us here in the US, about 156 pounds,
Yes.
and before
Exactly.
about 169. So would you say the 71 kgs that's your race weight?
No, actually, I do gym regularly. I go to gym
Hmm.
3 days a week. But in pandemic, the gyms gone close, so I couldn't go to gym and I lost my weight. So I don't know what's with my body. When I stop doing weight training, I lose my weight.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah.
And yeah, weight training very important as well. That strength conditioning. I'm sure that's helped you quite a bit also in your cycling endeavors.
Too much. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw some riders having neck problems and shoulder issues or something,
Mm,
but by God's grace, I never faced such issues because I usually train for my upper body too. So I think
mm.
that helps in cycling too, because most of the people don't pay attention to weight training for the upper body, but I feel that it should be done because it helps you.
Most definitely. It is important to have a holistic approach to training, both in the actual bicycling, the strength training for your entire body, including your core, but also rest, recovery, and nutrition. So there's so many facets to being a good ultra cyclist. Of course, you don't have to necessarily do all of them, but then you will end up suffering. Like you said, you saw many ultra cyclists having issues with their neck, perhaps Schirmer's neck, or maybe
Yeah,
something else, or
yeah.
different problems that crop up, especially doing something as long as the race across America, where you're on the bike for such a long time with hardly any rest in between efforts. That's when you'll really see what kind of quality training you
Correct.
did. Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to gearing, do you have a preferred gearing for your bicycles?
Yeah, I usually use 1132 on the race bikes, and I
Mm,
have 1128 on my indoor trainer. So I have made my indoor trainer a bit difficult than the race bikes or race wheels. So on race wheels, I prefer 1132,
mm,
11
okay.
speed. Yeah.
Right. Okay, very cool. Now, do you train by time or distance? And do you have a coach?
I do. I used to have a coach, Miten Thakkar, who coached Om also and Mahendra and Hitendra sir also
Ah,
before my RAM. Now I do it on my own.
okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And so in your training, are you training by time or distance?
I usually do by time because distance I don't prefer by doing it with the distance. So I do it with the time. Prefer the timing, like
Right.
some interval trainings for 1.5 hour, endurance ride for 6 to 8 hours or something.
Mm,
So
mm.
I calculate, keep a tab on the timing.
Yeah, so I'd imagine then that you are training, of course, with power and heart rate.
Yes, indoors, yes, I do have a power meter because all the trainers has smart trainer has power meters. But outdoors, I use only heart rate monitor. I usually don't pay attention to the numbers. I go
Hmm.
with the comfort zone. If I'm on an endurance ride, so I pay attention that I am comfortable. I can talk properly, comfortably. I don't go breathless or something. And indoors, yeah, I do keep a tab on power meter.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, okay, very good. So I'm wondering, do you, even now without the coach, are you still taking the time to do a periodic functional threshold power FTP test?
Yes, I usually do the FTP, I guess, after every 40 days, 40 to 30 days.
Hmm.
So right now I'm stuck. on the same number, that not going up or not going down. So I'm
interesting.
actually stuck. Yeah.
What is that number?
So right now it's 313.
Wow.
313 with 71 kgs. So it goes to 320 to 310. I'm hanging in between 310 to 320.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So let's see the power to weight ratio then. If we take, say, about 313, say,
4.2
divide
or
by
something,
71.
I guess.
Yeah, it looks like it's 4.4 currently. Perhaps if it was 310, 4.36, if we're at a 320 FTP, or rather 320 watts, so that would be 4.5. Yeah, okay, so very strong rider. Definitely putting in the time and energy to build up that power and strength. Of course, as many of us know, when it comes to ultra cycling, it's not necessarily about your power output, but how long can you sustain a certain threshold of power. And of course, to do something like the Race Across America, you have to work on improving that number.
Correct. So actually, I look at FTP as my training peak. So I can know that I had my FTP at 320. So after the race, when my FTP goes down, so I can have a target that, in past, I was targeting 320. So that is the main thing. And actually, I think that power training helps a lot, because when I did my first FTP, my FTP was around 219 with the weight of 77 kg.
Wow. Yeah, so very big difference. Tell me that number again one more time. What was it? 219?
219 with 77 kgs.
Wow. Okay. So big difference. So then your power to weight ratio was about 2.8. Now it is about 4.4. So that's a huge improvement that you've made. And I think it is important.
And the first FTP which I did was after my first Ultra Spice, was 1750. After that, I met with Miten Thakkar for my coaching. So he said that you need to do the FTP test, then we can graph your zones and everything, and we can go ahead. So that time I did my first FTP test.
Yeah, fantastic. And it seems like you're doing it on a regular basis, which I think for many cyclists, they tend not to do it so often unless their coach prescribes it to them. But you training on your own, that is a lot of discipline there that you're taking to ensure that you do have that target and some way to, if you're not keeping score, how do you know if you're winning or losing? I guess is the way to put it. And so it is a good way for many of us to train, especially if we're going for something big like the Race Across America, Race Around Austria, one of the Inspire India events, the Deccan Cliffhanger Ultra Spice Race, or the Great Himalayan. And so I think there's a lot that we could learn from you in the way of training, not just being disciplined about taking those FTP tests to properly set our zones, which means we could properly train, but also to do that strength training that you're doing as well. So that's fantastic. Now, Kabir, a couple of fun questions here. First one is about your favorite ride snack. What do you like eating on the bike when you're training or racing?
So while I'm racing, I love having pizza.
Oh, cool.
We can easily fold it and have it on the bicycle. Then I love chips. I love Coke, having Coke. I used to have non-veg food also, but right now I have discontinued it to do some experimentation with the training. So I love having pizza and Coke and chips.
All right. Sounds like a good American diet.
I had just so many pizzas, cheese and bacon. So every time station I used to reach, my sister used to come with the pizza. So when before going to sleep, I used to have 2 or 4 slices of the pizza, and then I used to go to sleep.
Well, I must say it's a good way to get in the calories, especially if you're getting the right kind of pizza like that with the cheese and bacon. And, sometimes you have to do that. And also a lot of the times, it is about other things, not necessarily, whatever is the best or cleanest nutrition, but sometimes, it's the only thing you can eat or the only thing that'll keep you mentally going. So it is important to figure that out. Oddly enough, I never thought in starting the show that pizza would be so popular with ultra cyclists, but almost every guest on the show has mentioned pizza in some form or fashion.
Yeah, of course. So I
So
feel when your body craves for some food, go for
yeah.
that. So when my body craves for some sweets or something, I eat sweets. When my body asks for some spicy food, I go for that. I don't keep a strict diet on my race days because I can't keep my mind properly focused if I don't eat what I'm craving for.
Yeah, that's a good thing you mentioned, actually. And I think a good rule of thumb, our bodies are pretty clever in every way, in
Yeah.
addition to pacing and other things. And if we could just listen, it
Yeah,
could
of
help
course.
us.
So,
Now,
like, I feel that your body is helping to reach from A to B. Then listen to your body. If that is asking for a pizza, then get pizza. If that's asking for ice cream, then get ice cream.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's asking for both, then definitely get both.
Then both. Yeah.
Now, Kabir, I'll take a pause here to mention that you did bring up Hitendra Mahajan and his father and his uncle.
Correct.
You crewed actually for both sets
Yes, I
of
could
them.
for the both. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, for he recently set a world record for the
Yes.
fastest crossing from Kashmir in the north
Kashmir to
of India
Kanyakumari.
to Kanyakumari in the south, right? And he was successful in that. And I know he was very glad to have you as an experienced ultra racer on his team. So well done to you and the team for
Thanks.
that
Thanks a lot.
successful crossing. Now, of course, his father and uncle are veterans in the ultra cycling world as well. They completed the two-person RAAM relay team as well. They also did the Golden Quadrilateral there in
Yes.
India. Tell us a bit about the
Yes.
Golden Quadrilateral.
So Golden Quadrilateral is highway which connects four main cities of India: Mumbai, Bangalore, Kolkata, and Delhi. So that is somewhere around 5,800 kilometers, and we did plan to finish it in under 12 days, and we finished in 10 days, 18 hours or something.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a very fast expedition because we were racing in team of two. So we had a crew of 12 people, six at the daytime and six in the nighttime. And both the Hitendra sir and Mahendra sir used to ride for 30 minutes in daytime. And in nighttime, they used to ride for 4 hours each and then 2 hours each. So, like from morning 10 to uh, uh, 10 at the night, they used to ride in 30 minutes. Then after that, 4 hours and 2 hours.
Yes. Sounds like some fun relay going on there.
Yeah.
Now, I quickly did a search here on Facebook on Hitendra Mahajan's page. Of course, that is
Correct.
father. And we can all
Yes.
see an image to get an idea. As you mentioned, it goes between four major cities there in India, but essentially it
Exactly.
spans most of the country. It is 6,000 kilometers, so it's not a short
Yes.
distance by any measure. And for
Yes.
those here in the US, 6,000 kilometers in miles is about 3,700 miles. So even longer than the race across America.
Yeah.
That's
And the
fantastic.
traffic is worst. In
Oh
India,
yeah.
the traffic is worst.
Yes.
You
I'll
cannot leave
mention
your
that.
rider alone on the road.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, another challenge of ultra cycling, even in the Race Across America and many other ultra events, that is why it is required to have a certain number of support vehicles, different policies in place for following directly or leapfrogging. And of course, you're familiar with that in your ultra races as well.
Yes.
Now, back to the sprint round of questions, Kabir. Wondering, what is your favorite ride hydration? What do you like drinking when you're training or racing?
So when I train, I usually have a normal water, plain water with two reload tablets. That is hydration tablet, which
Mm,
has all the electrolytes in it. And while on the race, I use a Stick Fast Nutrition, which is made in India,
mm,
and it has some 280 calories in one pouch. So I use that one pouch for 1 hour. That is carburants of Steadfast. If you Google it, you can see the company Steadfast Nutrition. So that I am very good with, and I use 100 ml Coke every hour. So yeah, this is my diet is pretty basic and okay. So because I usually eat solids also.
I see. Okay, very good. Yeah, now on that subject, I know there are a few photographs here. This one, we're talking about eating whatever your body may crave. What race was this, first of all?
So this is a Great Himalayan Ultra. And I guess I completed around 450 kilometers. And this attempt was after the RAAM. So my saddle sores were not properly healed. So I was having issues with my saddle sores, and the climate was very drastically changing at this attempt. So we had some -2 degrees Celsius temperature. Then we faced rain. Then there was 40 degrees Celsius temperature in the afternoon. So the temperature was very, and I was already fatigued. So yeah, I was having dal khichdi at that time.
Yeah, sounds good. Now I saw a lot of other goodies. In fact, let's go back to that photo. I think this is food here in this box.
Correct, yes.
Do you remember what that is?
So this is pastries, some already taken pastries, packed pastries. Yeah. Then you can see the ice box also. Just right to me, that red color ice box.
Where all of your Coke is in. It's a nice, it's a nice Coke color here, red and white.
Yeah. So Coke is in that box, and so my on the Leh highway, there is not. There are not many hotels or restaurants on that highway. So my sister cook all the food. We keep a single burner gas stove with us, and she cooks the food on the highway.
Wow.
So
that's
that was
some real
cooked
dedication
by her.
There. Yeah. And how about this meal here? This was also from that event, right?
Yeah, exactly. From that event. Immediately after 3 hours, I was again hungry. So I couldn't eat properly in first 12 hours. Because there is a lot of climbing, and I was not feeling comfortable because of the fatigue. So I couldn't properly. I was on the fluids only. But after 300 kilometers, I was a bit comfortable. Body was properly rhythmed, and then I started eating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. It's always challenging, the eating aspect. We would think that it would be a bit easier, but there's always issues that crop up. But glad you have a nice nutritionist there on your team. Many other nice photos that we'll get into here shortly. Okay, so what is your favorite post-ride meal after a big, long, hard ride? So during the ride, you're eating a lot of pizza and many other things. But is there a different kind of meal? Maybe a traditional Indian sort of cuisine or something else?
If pizza is available, then pizza.
Okay.
Or else I do it biryani or dal khichdi. Or anything spicy, because I am too foodie. I am big time foodie, so I crave for spicy or something, anything.
Yeah, no, that sounds delicious. I think I could join you on that. I think one of the things you said.
Of course, come for Himalayan.
Oh, yes. As I was telling Divya Tate, I'm not sure if I should be terrified of that event, because just looking at the route, looking at the elevation, I can't remember how high it starts, somewhere around 10 or 11,000 feet or something like that.
Yeah.
And it stays
3,200 meters.
Okay.
3,200 meters. So I guess higher than Wolf Creek Pass.
Right. That's
around
right.
200 meters higher than Wolf Creek Pass.
Okay, so if it's 3,200 meters, then it's just about 10,500 feet. It starts at that elevation, but in fact, it goes even higher, and it stays above that elevation the entire, 600K?
600K. The highest elevation is 4,200 meters.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So 4,200 meters in feet, that is just under 14,000 feet. So it's between 10,500 to say 13,500 feet the whole duration. And For those who are interested to learn more about the Inspire races, including the Great Himalayan, I would highly encourage you to watch the episode with Divya Tate a short while ago. She, of course, is the organizer and founder of Inspire India, and we go into all the details, and you'll understand why I say I'm not sure if I should be terrified to even consider doing that event, because even at the halfway point, you have a mandatory 3-hour rest break there, right? Because it is so extreme.
So I feel that every cyclist should, at least, if it's possible for him, he at least once in a life should come and should ride in Himalayas, because that terrain makes you more humble, makes you more disciplined cyclist, because if only mountains will allow you to climb them, you are able to climb them. No, I seen lot of strong cyclists or many lot of strong trekkers, but yeah, Himalayan is super grueling.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I said, folks should check out the episode with David Tate, learn all about it. But here is the Inspire India Facebook page, and in fact, the cover video is from that event, and that's you there, right?
Yeah, that was me.
Wow. I mean, if that's not breathtaking, then I don't know what is. But it just gives us a glimpse into some of the conditions. Now, of course, the weather being at such a high elevation can
Yeah,
vary drastically.
I was, I guess, around some 87 kmph at that time.
Wow. Yeah, it looks like fun, but of course, at the same time, it looks very desolate, very remote, as it should be.
That is scary. Actually, that is scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had my fair share of rides in settings like this, and it is, well, at least there are some support vehicles out there. But man, when you're there alone and you're riding in a place like that, I mean, it's hard to not feel just puny in comparison to Mother Nature. And I could just imagine at that altitude, I mean, if there's any remote location in the world, I mean, this is it. And that is no easy feat. But you're right. It is something that folks should check out. It is worth looking into if you can make it out there. Now, if I remember correctly, you have to go there like something like 10 days before
10 days prior to the event. And the
Right.
best thing about this event is you will not find the traffic on these roads. Even if you see all the photographs and all the videos, very less traffic, super friendly people, and properly disciplined drivers. They will give you a proper pass while overtaking you and everything. So yeah, even if someone want to ride it on solo or want to experience the Himalayas, so they can come and they can actually do it. And yeah, we have to reach there 10 days prior to the event because of the acclimatization. And yeah, after once you reach there, after 7 days, I guess your body get used to it and your body forms hemoglobin to for that altitude. So it is mandatory to reach there 10 days prior to the event. If you go 20 days prior to the event, then that is even better.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it is something that we can all have on our bucket list. It's definitely one, to enjoy a true challenge and, something truly extreme. Many other events that we do, at least we're going from one city to another where it's very populous. There's perhaps restaurants, there's even gas stations, things like that. But when you're riding out there, you have to remember that, okay, there may not be something for quite some time, or, we are kind of far from, the nearest metropolitan.
Exactly. And the U-turn, which the race has the U-turn from the place, that is called Dras. It is world's second coldest habitat. So the coldest temperature was recorded in Dras somewhere around -48 or -50 degrees Celsius.
Wow, that's incredible. So
yeah,
definitely takes ultra cycling to another level.
yeah.
But of course, you've done that on 2 occasions. So I'm sure there's a lot to be encouraged by that you have made it back alive.
Yeah.
Now,
and only 2 times when I feel that why I'm cycling was in both the attempts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. All right. So we'll definitely have to check that out based on Kabir's recommendation. Now, we have been talking about Divyatate and Inspire India. So, episode 31 is the one that folks should check out to learn all about that. She's a wonderful woman as well, great rich history, and a pioneer of ultra cycling in India as well. So, definitely a story worthwhile to review. Now, Kabir, getting back to you, I'm wondering, do you prefer climbs, descents, rollers, or flats?
So I feel I'm stronger on the climbs, and I I feel I'm stronger on the climbs, and I love descending in high speeds. So yeah, I prefer mostly climbs and descents.
Okay, very cool. So you like high speeds. So I'm curious, do you know what
Yeah,
your max speed down a hill has been before?
it was in Himalayas only, some
Hmm.
89 kmph.
Ah, okay. Wow,
Yeah,
very cool. So a good place to go drag racing down a hill, I guess.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay, when do you enjoy riding the most, Kabir? During the fall, the winter, spring, or summertime?
I enjoy riding mostly in winter times. In India, winters are pretty pleasant, like 22 degrees Celsius, 18 degrees Celsius, not like USA that you can't go out of the home and everything. So in
Mm.
India, the winter temperature is around 16 to 20 degrees Celsius or 22 degrees Celsius. So I usually like riding in winters because in rainy season, lot of potholes and all the things, then it becomes bit risky riding outdoors.
Yeah, that's true. All those different conditions, you got to factor that in and also take your safety into consideration. Now,
Yeah.
what time of day do you prefer riding, Kabir?
Usually, I don't follow any strict timing, but
Mm.
I love riding early mornings, like 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., between 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. And
Mhm.
in races, I love riding at the night time.
Ah, interesting. Why is that? What do you like about the night?
Because we face less traffic,
Mm.
the cool temperature. We keep proper Bluetooth speakers out of the car. Then I
Mm.
can listen to the music, and everything is settled. So I like riding in night times,
Okay, very
especially
cool.
because of the traffic. Yeah, we don't get much traffic in the night.
Now, I remember Hitendra Mahajan, he said he prefers riding there in the daytime. He likes the energy from the sun, and so he likes sleeping more in the evening. And we had another episode recently with somebody who said that they are solar powered. And I told them, I think that's as well.
Yeah, of course,
Solar powered cyclists. Okay,
solar
Kabir,
power
you've
cycles.
had your fair share of ultra cycling events, including the Race Across America, many of the Inspire India races. So I'm curious to know and hear from you. What do you think now as an ultra cyclist? Does it require more mental or physical strength and training?
I think both the training for the both things is important, because if you are only mentally strong and you are not physically strong, you are not gonna make it. And if you are only physically strong and you lack in mental strength, then also you are not gonna make it. So I feel with the proper strength training, you have to keep your mental, you have to keep train your mind also, that you have to perform a such big event or anything. So I guess when you train for some event, your mind automatically gets trained for that event. If somebody will ask me to ride 500 kilometer tonight, then I can't ride it because I'm not mentally prepared for this. If I know that on next Sunday I have to ride 600 kilometers, then my mind is properly trained that yeah, on next weekend I have to ride 600 kilometers. So yeah, both the trainings are equally important for the ultra event.
Yeah, well said. Very true. If we can expect something. Now, it is one of the challenges of ultra cycling and something like the Race Across America or any of the other long events that you're doing. There are things that happen unexpectedly and some things that are unplanned. I know in OMS, record setting that he did from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, he had a lot of setbacks even on the first day. And as a brand new
Yeah.
ultra cyclist, I kept on asking him, well, how difficult was it for him? Did he feel like giving in or throwing in the towel? But he just has such a mature, strong
Yeah.
mental mindset. And it's fascinating, but it is one of those things that we do also have to learn to cope with when things go haywire and things that are unplanned happen. But I
Yeah.
think in the mental preparation that we do in training for the races, that also helps us and equips us to have that patience,
Yes, of
essentially to
course.
pace our minds even to be able to make it through certain issues. And of course, working well with our crew, not getting frustrated or getting upset. And that's one of the tricks as well. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kabir, you've done a lot of events. Of course, the Race Across America, I'm sure, highlight of your life. But is there a specific event that has been your very favorite one? Perhaps the Great Himalayan?
So, yeah, of course, the Race Across America is my favorite event, other than the Himalayan, because I learned a lot of things. I have become a better person in my personal life also after doing the RAAM. I have become more patient. I feel that nothing is permanent because I never
Mm,
faced cramps in my entire cycling journey. But on the first day of the RAAM, I was facing too many cramps and I was not even able to stand properly. So yeah, and we faced somewhere around 50-degree plus temperature in Arizona, then a lot of crosswinds in Kansas, and yeah, then but everything was temporary. Everything changed after a certain time, then and we could make it to finish. So yeah, because of some learnings, Race Across America is my favorite race.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the life transformation that we have, that's really what makes an ultra event special. Just all the lessons that we learn, like you said, and how we can grow stronger from that. Of course, that's why I'm sure you want to return also, not just to better your time, you want to get under the 11 days, but also just for those more lessons that you can learn, and also implementing the lessons you've learned from the last one to see what you could do again. And that's one of the fun things I think about it. Also, just the different strategy that we all have as racers and
Yeah.
as a crew. And so we do look forward to having you back here. I hope that could work out. It's a bummer this year with the pandemic. A lot of things have been set back, including having great international athletes like yourself here in the U.S. to compete. But we'll look forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed in 2021, to have you and
Yes.
many others back here. Now,
But it is
Kabir,
I felt that it is more difficult to participate on the second attempt because we already know that what RAM it is.
hmm,
Then again go through with that pain and that sleepless nights and sleep
right.
deprivation and that mood swings. So I guess the first time was bit easier for me mentally, but for second attempt, I'm training my mind superbly
Hmm,
because yeah, I know that what it takes to finish RAM, and
right.
you don't have guarantee that whether you will make it to finish line again or not. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's the part of the game.
Right. Yeah. But I think that is the right mindset, that kind of humble mindset in knowing that anything can happen no matter how well you're trained.
Yeah,
Even the
of
best
course.
of us, Christoph Strasser, he has two DNFs for a variety of reasons out of his control. It could be the conditions that year, just, the wrong, alignment of situations. And so it is very true. And,
And one of
just
his
because.
DNF was immediately next year of when he broke the record for the Race
Mm,
Across America. So
right.
then anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. But in knowing that, and like you said, preparing your mind for that and knowing that, look, it is a possibility, so to not take it lightly, it's very
Yeah.
true. And like the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. And the first time you do it, you will probably be quite shocked of the things that you encounter out there, and many of which you don't even plan for,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
conditions being one of them, but many other factors. And so it is tough to kind of get back out there and do it again. But I guess, it's kind of just taking what we do in training. As a new cyclist, perhaps you start and it's a lot of fun and you could do it. But then as you go day in and day out, it kind of gets tired, and you know that, okay, I
Yes.
have, this FTP test coming up again, or I have this VO2 max session coming up again, and then kind of the pain and how long it'll take and what you'll have to go through. But I guess that is part of the preparation and also what builds us mentally. So exactly everything you've been saying. I guess another one thing that helps us both in the training and also preparation and recovery is something you mentioned earlier, good old biryani, something that I enjoy quite myself. And so I'm curious, what do you like having in yours?
So I usually like the rice part and the boneless chicken. So
Very good.
So I prefer it a bit spicy. And with the curd.
Yes, delicious. Yeah, well worth the effort of doing an ultra event like RAAM to get a good old bowl of biryani afterwards. Now, talking about that, of course, going to RAAM, there's you again. Very proud moment. Of course, here's a photo, very familiar.
So it was in Utah, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Familiar to, exactly. I guess the similar place which you have your background picture.
Yes. Same place. You can't miss it with those iconic red rocks.
Rocks, yeah.
Yes, a great feature of the race. And of course, there's many places across the US where you see all kinds of landscapes. Very beautiful, of course. It gets very hot there also, so folks who aren't familiar, haven't ridden out there, shouldn't be.
I was more pissed off with the bugs. I don't know what kind of bugs were there. I was pissed off with the bugs.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like to mention. Those who haven't done the race across America, or perhaps something along those lines in those areas, especially Kansas. I remember specifically myself, so many different kinds of bugs. I remember on the roads there were all these different worms. I was shocked to see them crossing the road for continuously. And there's a lot of mosquitoes. And, as Christoph Strasser had pointed out in episode 37, he had learned not to, like I am there in this image here, have your jersey open for aerodynamic reasons. Now, when I was riding across America, both in 2014 and 15, even in 2014, sometimes I would even take my jersey off, especially when it was very hot and humid, like in Kansas, especially during the early mornings or the late evenings, to kind of just enjoy the fresh air. And at the end of every stretch of the ride that I did, I remember looking at my front of my body, and I would look like the front of a car, after you do a long road trip, and it's filled with dead bugs. So it's one of the things also to consider. You could get eaten alive by the mosquitoes, let alone all the other critters and bugs. And that is, in my mind, kind of one of the worst parts of it also. It kind of does bug you a lot, pun intended. Now, Kabir, here's another telling photo. Tell me about this one.
So it was after finishing the RAAM, and I was having a proper sleep. But I don't know whether you also have faced it or something. I couldn't sleep properly for at least 30 to 40 days after finishing RAAM. My sleep cycle got short. I used to sleep only for 2.5 to 3 hours. And I used to feel fresh, totally fresh. I used to get nightmares that I am not able to finish the race across America. Sometimes I saw some dreams like I started from the Maryland and I have to reach the Los Angeles again. So I started the race from this end to that end.
Wow.
So, but I couldn't sleep properly for at least 45 days after the RAAM.
Yeah, I think that in addition to the physical issues that many of us face in these long ultra events are quite common, and something that could be a little scary initially, especially the first time experiencing it. But of course, you've made that recovery and you're back to normal now, just in time to do it again. So
I actually said it on the stage only that I'll come back again, because I was not happy with the timings. If you see my video also on my page, so I said it that I'll come back next year again, because I don't know, I was not happy with the timings.
Well, look forward to having you back to best that time. I guess the faster you do it, the less you have to be tortured by all the conditions and the bugs. Okay, Kabir.
Absolutely.
So when you think of ultra cycling, who pops into your mind?
Yeah, Christoph Strasser and Marco Bello.
Ah, okay. All right,
Yeah.
so they'll be glad to hear that. Have another fan out there in
I
India.
am big time fan of Christoph Strasser, and I was able to catch him in Borrego Springs when I was in training ride.
Oh,
So I
cool.
rode with him for an hour, and that was like fan moment for me. You can see on my Instagram also that I'm
Uh,
riding with him, and I rode for good 40 kilometers with him. I asked for first timer tips and everything.
wow.
Then I met Marco at the start point, and yeah, super human, super humble. Especially Marco is a gem of a
Yeah.
person.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
both incredible people, very humble, very friendly, and very willing to share their knowledge with everyone. Now, I do
yeah,
have your Instagram. I found this image here with you
correct.
and Christoph. Wow, that's a lovely photo. Great
Yeah,
moment.
that and exactly on the above row, you can see the photo with him handshaking that at the
Ah,
introduction day
yeah, yeah,
before
yeah.
the RAM. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that is Ellen Startup. She was riding superbly in RAM, but
Wow,
she I guess DNF'd after 3,600 kilometers.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but great photos. Glad you were able to capture those. I'm sure those were some highlights of that whole experience, and you got some nice photos to share
Yeah, I
about
could
that.
see someone like Christoph Strasser in Borrego Springs, and I
Uh,
told to my friend that I think that is Christoph, and he was like, "You think?" I said, "Yeah, I think he is Christoph," and I saw his Instagram stories that he is here. So I went, I caught him, and then I rode with him.
that's so cool. Must have been fun, like you said, a nice fan moment.
Fan moment for me.
And so, those who don't know, of course, Christoph Strasser is arguably the best ultra cyclist in the world, at least the only 6-time Race Across America champion. And so, if you'd like to learn more about him and his own story, we do have episode 37 with him, where we get a whirlwind tour of himself and many of the events that he's done. He shares so much knowledge with us. As you mentioned, just very friendly people, both him and Marco, who we also have in another episode. And stay tuned for episode 49, where we will have another episode with Christoph, where we'll learn even more, and specifically, actually, about the Race Across America. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. Episode 7
I
was with Marco Ballo, and that was a fun one as well.
I forgot to mention a name that is Andrei Kadlec. I don't know whether you are familiar with it. He is specially abled, differently abled cyclist. So he did complete a RAM on hand bicycle. I was
Mm.
crewing for Samim that year. And
Yes, yes.
even Christoph said that if he finishes RAM, everyone should call him the king of RAM or something,
Mm.
because the way he was climbing the climbs on the hand bicycle, it was totally awesome.
Yeah, actually, I remember following that journey that year, and
Yeah.
yeah, interesting to know that you were out there crewing Samim, and of course, you have a number of experience with crew. We had mentioned the Mahajan Brothers in doing the quadrilateral expedition, the Golden Quadrilateral, and then also for the Race Across America as well. So you have
Yeah.
experience both as a racer and as a crew member, both important. You learn a lot in both settings. And so you, again, have that well-rounded approach to everything that you do in your training and also your preparations. So all very interesting, Kabir. And before I forget, I did want to share with folks your Instagram pages. So of course, here is the underscore limited underscore one, the limited one. They could see those photos with you and Christoph and many others here. I see some from the Race Across America and some celebrations.
So that is my sister. You can
Uh-huh.
see on the third row. Just go above. So that is Sapna. Her name is
Ah,
Sapna. The first picture, the
okay.
left hand side. Yeah, that is the picture.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it is at the. It was at the Maryland, I guess. after finishing
That's a
RAAM
great photo.
immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, and like they say, beside every great man is an even greater woman. And so here is your sister,
Yeah.
happy that you made it across, probably thinking, why does my crazy brother make me do all these things?
Yeah, actually, in my last 180 kilometers, no, not 180, I guess 140 kilometer, I actually forgot how to cycle.
Huh.
So, yeah, they had to tell me that keep pedaling, you have to move your right leg, then you have to move your leg left. Then, because I was so sleep deprived, I couldn't focus properly on the road. And I was dozing off every alternate second. So,
Wow.
in last 70 kilometer, came into my senses. Then I got it properly. But the 140 finishing 140 kilometers before finishing, it was worse. And my crew was about to decide that we are not going to finish it, or we will sleep for 3 to 4 hours. Then we'll see what to do.
Wow. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen when you're so sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And you have to have an excellent crew to keep you going and also to keep you safe. Sometimes it's important to stop, just like Christoph Strasser had done before. I know in 2015, also the year that I was in RAAM, he also had to DNF, unfortunately, that year, shortly after Colorado. He took a short break for about half an hour to kind of regain some strength there. He was suffering from water retention. But, even after that, he pushed on for a few hundred miles, if I remember correctly. But unfortunately, they had to make the decision for health reasons to, call it a day and come back again in the future. Of course, he did come back, and now he is the 6-time RAAM champion. Now, Kabir, you also have another Instagram page. It is all about ultra cycling, all_about_ultra cycling, one word. And tell me about this page and what you're posting here.
So I try to share small things which I learned from the ultra cycling. I put my photographs only to attract the attention of the people, because if you put something informative, people won't give proper attention to it. So that photos are only to grab the attention, and you can see the proper post about the photos. So that is an informative page.
Yeah, I'm looking at this one here.
Yeah,
it looks like you're talking about downhills. I think some good tips here. Keep your head up at all times. Remember, you go where you look. Yeah, that's fantastic. I think just that alone is some good advice for those, especially if they're not comfortable going down descents. That's one of the keys. Always look ahead of the curve. That'll help you a long way.
Yeah.
That's
because
cool.
Your body automatically goes to where you look. So if you look at the different corner, then your body automatically goes to that corner.
Yeah. So true. Okay, now you also have a Facebook page that folks could follow you on as well if they just search your name, Kabir Rachure, and then they could follow you. Of course, many common friends there and a lot of great photos, and I'm sure many other lessons. Now, kind of getting back to yourself as an ultra cyclist, I'm curious, what are your future plans on your bucket list aside from the Race Across America in under 11 days?
I haven't planned anything on paper or something. I'll just like to go with the flow. If time permits, or then if my health permits, then I would love to attempt each and every difficult race out there which are available in all over the world. But right now, I'm looking for improving my RAAM timing. Then after that I may do some 24-hour TTs, maybe a race around Austria, then a race around Europe, and
Yeah, sounds like some fun. Now talk about other challenges. Here's a nice photo of you. Now this one is from an Everesting challenge that you did recently, right?
Yeah.
And this
and
was
we
put on
set
by
a
the
new
Peaks.
national record for this.
Oh,
Power
wow.
Peaks.
The Power
and
Peaks
we put on
training.
and we set a new national record for it. We weren't aware about the current record. We went to just have some fun because this was the first outdoor event after the pandemic. So we were like, just we'll go and we'll enjoy the event because a lot of friends were coming for the same event. And then we went to enjoy the race.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I know there were dozens of people that were able to make it out there and a lot of great records set. Now,
Yeah,
that
it
was put
wasn't
on.
actually a race. It was just an event to go beyond your limits and something and go and try to do half Everesting or full Everesting or 10K or Everest Base
Yeah.
Camp. So yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people achieved their best.
Now, it's a great event to have put on. Of course, I've always been curious since the first episode with Mayank Tripathi, the first Indian ultra cyclist on the show. But since then, I've learned quite a lot to understand what is really causing the ultra cycling community in India to grow and just thrive there, and what is developing the racers like yourself. And it is because of people like Divya Tate, Inspire India, also Chaitanya Vahal's Power Peaks Training Academy. There are many ways for ultra cyclists to get involved, to get experience, to get races going, even to do an Everesting group challenge where a lot of folks can come out and do it together. That's always one of the best ways, to learn from others, to also have the encouragement and motivation from other people. Now, for those who want to learn more about the Everesting challenge, they could check out episode 46, which is coming soon. And that is featuring Chaitanya Valhal, also an accomplished athlete himself, and a lot to learn there. He is also a coach, and so we do get kind of scientific in that one. Just a heads up for that, for those folks who may be a little nervous about that. So, okay, back to you, Kabir. I'm really curious about your training routine, particularly now that you're not training with a coach. How many hours are you training? I'd imagine perhaps you're kind of in an off season right now, perhaps, or where are you in your training?
No, I started my training last week because I have a event coming up. It's Ultra Spice Race again, that is 1200 kilometers. So it's on 6th of Feb. So I started my training last week. So I
Okay.
usually train for 12 to 14 hours a week for these kind of races. Maximum 16 hours a week, not beyond 16 hours. So yeah, that is enough for me. Mostly I do interval trainings on the weekdays, some high intensity training, sprints, and then sweet spot training, then zone 2, zone 3, then anaerobic sessions, and then mostly endurance rides on the Saturdays.
Ah, okay, very interesting. Now, when you were training for the Race Across America and when you will train for the next one, what is the most hours that you do in a week?
So I did around 18 to 22 hours a week maximum, but somehow I feel that I learned that not to overtrain because as a beginner or as a first attempt, I used to train too much. But somehow I know that you have to manage your fatigue also in proper way. It is not okay to overtrain your body because then if you are not taking your diet and nutrition properly, then that is not gonna help you. So it's better to assess yourself and study yourself than how much training do you require per week. And that is, I guess, helped me a lot and not to overtrain. I used to train throughout the year, but now I keep some months off season. Then I keep some weeks very high intense. Then the next week I go properly in rhythm. And yeah, that is reflecting my timings also after the first RAAM.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, mark of a true athlete is knowing when to rest and also know how to recover, eat well, do the strength training. So it definitely sounds like you are that good athlete. So well done with all of it. Now, curious, you do a lot of interval training, of course, so it does take a different level of discipline. Not every ultra cyclist does these kinds of things. What is one of your most difficult interval sessions that you do, which you know makes you strong, but is just so difficult to do for you?
Do you Zwift by any chance? There is one training, Gorby, I guess the Gorby. and it is, I guess, five intervals of 5 minutes at 120% of your FTP. So yeah, I feel that is the most difficult training which I do.
Yeah. Sounds like some painful fun.
Yeah, of course. So the session, I guess I'm not sure about 120% or something, but now these are like 350 watts for 5 minutes and 5 sets right now. So I guess, yeah, 120% of my FTP.
Very interesting. So I've tried to pull that up here. I think I found
Exactly this one.
some chart. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
Right. So it looks like it does spend quite a bit of time in zone 5,
Yeah.
as you mentioned. And so those who aren't familiar, this is kind of giving you the layout of the power over the session. And so you could see there are different periods of time in different zones. Now, how many times in a week would you be able to do this kind of session? Just
I do
once a
it
week?
once in 2 week, because that is a short training plan session, like 1 hour or something, or 45 minutes. But yeah, once in 2 weeks.
Yeah, very nice. And for your longest rides on the weekends, how many hours do you usually go for?
I go for maximum 6 hours. Right now, maximum 6 hours. Then if I'm going self-supported, then I go for 6 hours. If I'm supported by my crew, then I go for 8 to 10 hours.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I'm curious, Kabir, what motivates you and drives you? You know, what is your personal ambition, or what's really, you know, the carrot hanging in front of you that keeps you going, keeps you waking up each day, getting on your bicycle, you know, training towards some event? What's that motivation for you?
Right now, I'm in a position that I feel what I do, very few people can do it in India. So I don't want to lose that form. I want to keep that form alive, and I want to sustain for in future coming years also, that people should see that this guy is doing from so many years and he still gets the pole in all the races. So yeah, that motivates me a lot. And whenever I feel demotivated, I go and I see the videos of Christoph Strasser. The way he pushes, the way he trains for the races, the way he rides in all the weathers, that motivates me a lot.
Yeah, so true. I couldn't agree more with you. So, Kabir, who would you say are your closest competitors there in India? Who do you always kind of look out for on the roster of racers for an event?
So in 24-hour races, I feel Mayank is the toughest competitor in India, I feel, if the race is 24 hours. And if the race is long distance, more than, I guess, the multi-day event, then Amit Samarth is there, Bharat Pannu is there. Then, yeah, these two guys comes in my mind. And even Mayank is very good for the multi-day event, but I never raced against him in multi-day event. I raced against him in 24-hour indoor time trial. Then I raced against him in Ultra Spice, and raced against him in a Deccan Cliffhanger. So yeah, Mayank, Bharat Pannu, and Amit Samarth.
All right. Yeah, all good names. We will also have an episode with Bharat, so looking forward to that one. Yeah. Of course, he held the record from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and it's kind of been going back and forth. The Mahajan brothers, in fact, they held it beforehand, and then Bharat took the lead, and now, of course, has reclaimed the victory for his family. So, do you think you'll ever attempt that record yourself?
I don't see myself doing that record attempt right now, because I have other plans too. So I have seen the route. I might attempt it in future, but I don't think so. If I am not doing any international races or any other races, then I'll go for that record.
All right. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that. I know there's many other races out there, and of course, we'd love to have you here in the U.S. again. And so we'll just have to patiently wait. But like you said, you are in it for the long haul and would like to stay and keep that consistent form through many years. So I'm sure we'll see you at a variety of events internationally. So very excited for that. Now, Kabir, what do you think most people don't realize about ultra cycling? Whether it's a non-cyclist or just a non-ultra cyclist?
Most of the people do understand. They feel actually very good about it. A lot of my friends feel like I'm something Superman or something who rides a bicycle for 5,000 kilometers. But what they don't understand is the expenses. Then how can you buy a bike which cost you some 3 lakhs rupees, or how can you buy some wheels which cost you around 1.5 lakh rupees, 1.5 lakh rupees? Then the cost and expenses and the quality time which we compromise with our friends and the other colleagues, like you can't socialize with them on a regular basis because you will miss your training and you can't perform properly in races. So on these things they get annoyed that we can't spend proper time with them.
Yeah, that's a good point, and especially about the expenses. Not only the equipment, but for someone like yourself that doesn't live close by here in the U.S., even just coming out here for something like the Race Across America, I mean, the registration fee isn't cheap, and also just the logistics of being able to get the equipment, the gear, the vehicles, because a lot of that you have to rent or get here. You can't bring it all over. And so it is a big barrier to entry, but it is another accomplishment to even just make it to the starting line, like they say. And it's another thing, of course, to finish as well, like you have done.
Yeah.
So
there is one race, Island of TT. That is a bike race. They close the entire island and they do time trial on motor bicycles. So a lot of racers died in that race. I received a lot of time the same question, that why do you do this if there is no prize money in the RAAM? In that same race also, the wife of the racer who died in a race, the interviewer asked her that why do you do this race if there is no prize money? She says that there can't be any prize money because all of them does this race for the pride that it's world's dangerous time trial race or time trial. So RAAM is also in the same way, that we all of us do this for that honor that we have completed the world's toughest bicycle race. And if we keep any prize money on this, then I guess it won't impact the same image to the rest of the athletes.
Yeah, very interesting point that you mentioned there. I think there's many motivations for doing the RAAM, and that's the cool thing because everybody's coming. But of course, it is a very prestigious event to accomplish, and you've done that, and so you know. But also, like you mentioned earlier, just the growth, the lessons that you learn. You know, you can't learn in any other way aside from doing the training of ultra cycling and then competing in these races. And so you have a lot of that experience, of course. Now, you know, as we kind of get towards the end here in our time together, I did want to pull up some other nice photographs that you sent through. And yeah, it just seems like a lot of fond memories that you've made through the years. And so I'm curious, what tips do you have for others who would like to get started with ultra cycling, but perhaps just don't know how? And maybe they haven't been a cyclist, or maybe they are a road cyclist and compete in shorter races. What tips do you have for the rest of us?
First of all, you need to have a lot of patience because you won't see any growth overnight. You have to train for a longer period. You have to fail a lot of times. You have to train properly. Then don't go too fast, too early. So keep some small targets like 200 kilometers, then 300 kilometers, then 600 kilometers. Then go for some long brevets like 1000 or 1200. Then improve your timings. Don't do too many events in a year. just target some 2 to 3 events in a year and train properly for these events. Nowadays, people do a lot of events every month or every week. There is on every Saturday you can see someone's organizing some marathon or some cycling race or something. Just have patience, plan for 2 to 3 events every year, and train for those.
Yeah, some good words of wisdom that we can all take to heart to better ourselves. You were talking about earlier, making sure we don't overtrain, knowing when to take a rest, also not packing our schedules too full. I mean, you will be able to do the events, but if you want to do them well, feel good, also make sure you don't get injured. It is important to take that long-term approach as you have done yourself.
Absolutely.
So very well said. Of course, many other great photos that you've taken. Nice to see you out there in the element doing what you love. A very nice bicycle setup as well. There's a happy photo there. Yeah.
This was before the race, before the Ultra Spice 1000 kilometer.
Ah, okay. No wonder you're looking so happy and fresh.
Yeah.
Love your beard, by the way. I think that's one of the features of Kabir.
Yeah. Thanks.
We all recognize. Now,
So
was this from a crew?
Yeah, this is my closest friend, Ratnadeep. He was there with me in RAAM also. So I was taking a nap and he was also taking a nap at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great photo. Yep. Very nice. Of course, we saw this one earlier, eating. Nice meal out there. Yeah, a lot of great memories and many more still to be made. Just to think. Still just the beginning for Kabir Rachure.
This was last Deccan Cliffhanger's photo after the win.
Yeah, very cool. Very nice. And then, of course, we saw this one on your Instagram. Very nice.
In Himalayas again. Yeah. This is my technician. It is Nikhil. So, yeah. He look afters my bike when I am on the saddle.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. Yeah, great to have the team that you have, the technician here, your sister as well. What would you like to say to your sister for all that she's done for you, and perhaps even for the things that she'll continue to do in the future?
Actually, each and every person in Indian ultra cycling community knows that Kabir is because of his sister. Yeah. So sometimes they are like, we don't have Sapna as our crew chief. That's why we can't win some race or we don't perform properly. So yeah, she's more famous than me.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, glad she gets some credit. I'm sure she does a lot behind the scenes that we haven't talked about or we don't know, but of course you do, and it's great that you're able to have that fun with her and also know that she has played a very big part in your success. So I hope you will be able to continue that partnership with her and the rest of your crew in all the events that you have upcoming. I know 2021, we're all hoping will be a better year, much more racing, and so we'll look forward to following your journey forward. Now, Kabir, just a few fun sprint to the finish line questions here to end on a fun note.
Yes.
Of course, first question I wonder about is, how would you rate yourself in terms of bicycle maintenance on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being excellent, lubing your chain, changing out your tires, your tube?
Except the bottom bracket work and changing cables, and 9 out of 10.
Wow, 9 out of 10. That might be a show
Yeah.
record, Kabir. So it looks like
I love spending time with my bikes.
that's
My
excellent.
bikes. Yeah.
That's
I do
good.
my bike fit, I do lube them, I do re-grease them, then I do small things, tuning and everything, but not with the bottom bracket and changing cables. I don't have that courage. So I take it to technician. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps in the future. But that's excellent. So you definitely are a well-rounded athlete, and you also take good care of your bicycles, which is fantastic. It is difficult sometimes with all the training, the rest of life, and sometimes it is better to take it to a professional to make sure that it is done
Of course, yeah.
correctly, as you mentioned. But it is nice that you do spend that time and attention. I'm sure your bicycles appreciate that. Now, I know you will be getting some Spiegel bikes shortly, but would you say that those are your dream bicycles, or is there still something on your radar that one day in your life that you would like to have?
Actually, I have different kind of connection with my equipments. So what I have right now, these are my dream bikes because they have supported me so much in entire my career in my cycling. So I share very special connection with my bikes that I never faced any flats in my races. I just had one flat in race across America, but I never faced any issues. So yeah, whatever I have, these are my dream bikes, and yeah, the looking forward to have Spiegel bikes also.
Yeah, very exciting. That's cool, Kabir. Now, who would you nominate for a future episode on this show? Is there a certain person that has inspired you or a story you think is just worth sharing?
So I guess you can call Samim Rizvi, who attempted RAAM 4 times, but he finished actually once beyond the times, like after the finish time. Like after 12 days, he finished 45 minutes late. So, and 3 times he faced issues. He had once he had ligament tear, once he had pneumonia, once he had the knee pain when I was with him, and he finished only once. That was late finish. And he is the one who introduced RAAM to India.
Fascinating. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from his story, so thank you for that nomination.
Of course. Arguably, I guess the strongest cyclist in India, but equally lazy.
Very fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. Kabir, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you, finally, after hearing your name come up so many times with other guests, and just, of course, in the ultra cycling community. It's nice to hear from you, your experiences, your story, your successes, also all the hard work and discipline that goes behind what you're able to accomplish. So tailwinds your way in 2021 for all the events that you have upcoming. We hope that you have good health and great success, and hope to have you back here in the US very soon.
Yeah. And thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, look forward to having you back on for your future
Of course.
records, for your future events, and when you break that 11-day barrier for the Race Across America. And perhaps I'll see you out there at the starting line in Oceanside, California pretty soon.
Sure
look
thing.
forward to that.
We'll go for a short spin.
Yeah, sounds good. And hopefully we'll catch Christoph again out there in Borrego.
Yeah, but he don't talk before the race. He is in some different zone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kabir, and thank you everybody who's tuned in for this episode. I hope you found some inspiration, also some tips to better your own ultra cycling. Keep following Kabir's journey. There's still a lot more ahead for him. Very successful Indian ultra cyclist, and I know that we'll have him back out here in the US, so let's cheer him on. And let's just hope that 2021 will be a better year with all the racing. But until next episode, everyone, keep spinning ultra.